John Brown, Clinton, South Carolina. The sit-ins, when they happened back in the 60s, it had a big effect, because when you saw some of the things that occurred in terms of the white owners refusing to serve black people, it was very disturbing, especially for a young guy like me. At that time, I guess I was in my early teens when a lot of that was happening. It made you reflect back and think about how difficult time was, where you got human beings not wanting to serve another human being just because of the color of his skin.
My name's Patricia McMillan Lee. I was born in White Oak, North Carolina, shortly after the Civil Rights era began. Yes, I've experienced blatant racism in the late 60s when I first went to high school, even though the Supreme Court had ruled in 1955 to desegregate the schools. When I went to high
This ministry is not just about food, or I would call it Manna Ministry, but it's called Manna Ministries, plural, because the food is, for lack of a better word, debate. It's what you throw out there to bring people in. Everybody needs to eat, but the people that come through that door are often in search of much more than just the physical food. That's what we're offering them. But people have come to know Christ through this ministry. People have been able to really experience the love of God.
What's the biggest challenge besides the dementia? It would two things. As pertaining actually to him, it's getting him to take a bath. I mean, that's just, it seemed like there was almost a month that he didn't take a bath. He just refused to actually take a bath. And he sleeps in the same clothes at night. He doesn't change his clothes. He refuses to change his clothes. And so actually what I had to do was figure out a routine, how to get him to take a bath.
What words of wisdom I can offer that has come from my father? Probably quite a bit. One of the things, he would always say when he would come to church and he'd win the award for the oldest father there on Father's Day, he would always give advice that for fathers not to send your children to church, but to bring them to church. And that was one thing he would always say. And that would be the same advice I'd give people too. Don't send your kids to church, you need to bring them to church. And another advice was always to get your education. And I remember one thing he used to always tell us growing up. He would always say, son, get yourself some bricks. And that means buy yourself a house.